when Sean Diddy Combs was reportedly arrested and hit with serious federal charges like racketeering and alleged as *XTR ficking. It didn't just shake headlines. It reopened an entire chapter people thought was buried. But then, instead of clarity, it created more confusion. Old clips started resurfacing. Old friendships came under the spotlight. And one name kept popping up in conversations that weren't there before.
Well, he said a Philly rapper. You understand? And it was redacted in the paperwork to that because, first of all, it had Meek Mills, it had Stevie J. They had redacted their names, and they had Usher, and they redacted their names and just said a performer of the Super Bowl and a Philly rapper. Everybody kind of knew back in the day that Meek Mills and
That's where Meek Mill enters the picture, not as someone charged with anything, but as someone whose past association is now being re-examined. For years, their connection existed in public, events, parties, industry moments, but rarely explained. And here's the part people miss. Those same moments that once looked normal are now being analyzed frame by frame, with people questioning tone, behavior, even small details that didn't stand out before.
or two people in the industry come dressed up alike on more than one occasion. My man, listen here, man. My dudes in Philly, I got some real strong dudes in Philly. They don't play that shit. And they probably embarrassed for the fact to see that Meek Mills, one of the street guys that came out of there, got caught up in this Hollywood, whereas that he's dressing like, he dressing the same, he dressing like Diddy, hugged up with Diddy. I think that Lil Rod know a lot of shit, but I know this. Two men dress alike, it's just like two men laying down. When they both get up, they both homos. And that's real talk, bruh. My man, you go to a party, dog, and the nigga got the same shirt you got on, I'm taking my shirt off. I'm walking around in a t-shirt. And then, not to blow Meek Mills up out the water or anything like that, it was said that they checked his Google search and all the other shit, and he was searching for some online gay porn and all that other shit like that.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy, bro. But listen, those are what, it's crazy that money, that lifestyle, and you trying to fit into something get you. These guys never set out to do all this shit. Meek Mills, when he got into the game, he didn't set out to be questioning about his manhood with Diddy. But he put himself in that.
According to reports and discussions around a recent documentary, even redacted legal paperwork allegedly hinted at unnamed figures, described as a Philly rapper or major performer. Nothing proven in court, nothing confirmed directly, but enough for speculation to explode online. And that's where it gets messy, because once the internet starts connecting dots, it rarely waits for facts.
And just tear his whole life down, but it's all because of his mentors and the people that trained him and taught him the music business. It's all about the people who trained and taught him the music business, because Puff wasn't, he wasn't born a monster. You know what I'm saying? He was made into a monster, brother. Do you understand what I'm saying? He was made into a monster from the stuff that happened to him, the things that he had to do. You understand? The things that he had to do to become who he is. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like this, brother. You never like something so much that you can't do without, and you never be willing to do anything to get where you want to be at. You got to have principles. You got to have morals. You got to keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window. You understand? And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him. He was doing the things to other people that was done to him. And it is what it is. You got to know better. And if you know better, you will do better. When he was in New York City, he was like that gecko from the Geico commercial. Then he turned and started going, when he lived in Cali and Miami, he turned into Godzilla. I would see him talk about how he using drugs. He was never like that. Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed and everything like that. He turned into something that you could consider a monster, bruh. Then he started doing things to people, you understand, that he learned. That's a learned behavior, bruh. Now, I'm not saying that he may have been doing a couple of things here and there with women, stuff like that in New York, but the things that there's talking about that he was doing, bringing in prostitutes to have sex with his girl and all that stuff like that, that was some crazy stuff to me, man. So I'm just looking at this whole thing, man, and you had asked me, and we don't have these conversations like most people do. We're going to go back and you're going to tell me what, we're going to talk about this. You said, I'm going to ask you how you feel, bro. I don't want no man to ever go to jail and be leaving their kids behind, be leaving their family behind. You understand? But some dudes belong in jail based on what they do and how they do it. We know that to be true. And it's just this situation, man. When they get down to all the facts and all what happened, he may belong in jail, bruh. And that's not my doing. That's not Cassie doing. That's his doing and his learned behavior from the people that mentored him. You got to realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were.
Then comes 50 Cent, and he doesn't stay quiet, known for speaking bluntly. He steps in and starts calling attention to things others avoided, not presenting proof, not making legal claims, but raising questions. And in this situation, questions alone were enough to shift the entire narrative. Because suddenly, silence didn't look neutral anymore, it looked strategic.
Because you as a man, if you know you ain't do nothing and you ain't got no problem with nothing and you sure with yourself, you don't give a what nobody else say. Why you gotta hire somebody that you want to make sure or prove to somebody else that you and Diddy didn't have a relationship when you know within yourself you didn't have a relationship with him? Tell me, give me that 100,000. I'll tell everybody, Meek Mills ain't do shit with Diddy. And make sure everybody know that. Don't make no sense as a man. They talked about Jesus Christ. What are you worrying about what they say about him?
Do you think maybe he just wants to know what the feds know about him?
The feds gonna let them know anyway. When Diddy gets discovery, if he lets this go to the point, whereas that whatever the feds is charging him with, they have to give discovery. Now, they don't have to give and show everybody what's on those tapes. You understand what I'm saying? And those states could be locked up and sealed away for a very long time. But whatever they charge with, they're going to give the defense team the discovery. And if it's seen that somebody is there doing something that appears to be illegal, and he's a part of that, it'll be in the discovery.
From what I understand, the feds are real tricky. It's not like the state where they let you know everything ahead of time. Like, a lot of this stuff you might not even know up until right before the trial starts.
They can't produce it still, bro. If in fact he's being charged with something, that's where you have your good lawyers tell the judge, nah, Your Honor, we didn't get that. You can't bring that in court like that. That's what you have good lawyers for.
One of the things that I think was, I kind of just didn't understand it, but they're saying that Diddy is facing asset forfeiture. The government wants to seize the properties tied to racketeering, trafficking, and prostitution charges.
That's a good way of saying that what a black man has earned all these years for doing music, we want to take it away because he didn't get this from doing music, which is a lie. He got those things for doing music, selling alcohol, doing whatever he was doing. So now they want to put a crime on it and try to seize his property and seize his things that he has earned, which has nothing to do with what they're trying to charge him with.
Yeah, it's literally nothing to do with what he's being charged with, which is what.
Clips go viral. Old photos resurface. People point at matching outfits, shared appearances, moments of closeness. Things that can mean nothing or something. But here's the twist. None of it is confirmed evidence. It's all interpretation. And still, the conversation keeps growing because perception moves faster than truth online.